next. I just want to give like the insight from just like a regular guy, my thoughts on all this talk on the ecological approach and jiu-jitsu and constraint-led training and learning, and and I'm gonna botch up the language a lot, probably. But so I do have a jiu-jitsu program here in South Carolina, and we've been open since September. So September, October, November, December, January, almost 6 months. Actually, I think we're going to hit 6 months this week. We have been solely ecological to the best of my ability as a coach since we opened. So they're all brand new, and I've had, I got one guy that trains with me since I opened that had a few months, I think maybe a couple months of jiu-jitsu, maybe a little bit more, before he started with me. But everybody else had no jiu-jitsu experience at all, and it's been all gains. No static drilling, all games. So I knew it was going to take some time to see some results, but I'm going to talk about what I've seen, and then I'm going to talk about why I like it better. So I would say in 2 weeks, I had kids who were training twice a week doing single leg takedowns. And I did that in 3 games. First game was toe tag. So literally, like, they're just trying to tag each other's toes. Sometimes I just let them go at it and try to tag each other's toes as many times as possible, just because they have a good time. And, kids, it needs to be fun. And then the next game was they were allowed to pick up the single leg, but the offensive player just had to keep it. Don't try to take him down. Try to control the leg while the defensive player wants to get the leg away, get it back on the floor. Okay. And of course, like, that's hilarious to watch in general, because most of these kids don't have good balance yet. So they're falling over, just trying to hang on to the leg, but at that point they're learning that they're going to fall down. So I'm cool about it. Then it was like, pick up the leg. When I say go, your job is to put your partner down on their butt. So instead of being like trying to explain how the single leg works, which, to be honest, I'm not a great wrestler, so I had failed at it in other kids' programs, just not getting it, right? Because it was always like, grab the leg like this, put pressure here, but, trying to give these very detailed instructions, and it just doesn't work with kids. So it was essentially, here's the leg, put your partner on their butt. Not only did I see kids knocking each other down, but I had one kid who started hitting double legs. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wasn't prepared for that. But that was in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we had kids hitting single leg takedowns. Okay. So I did the same thing with guard passing. I gave the kids like next to no instruction at first, which was a fail on my part. And it was pretty much like one kid open guard on his back and telling the other kid, like, hey, try to get chest to chest with your partner. And then slowly I got better at giving the right information, the right cues, the right information from the bottom kid, like, hey, keep your hands and feet on the partner that's trying to pass. Like, hey, keep your feet in between you and him, and at the same time telling the passing partner, like, don't let them put their hands and feet on you. Don't let them put their hands and feet on you. And so guard passing started happening. So let's move into my adult program. And I saw something last night that really, really kind of was like, whoa, okay. All right. So I got a couple guys on the mat last night. One guy who's been with me since pretty much I started. So he's been with me almost 6 months. And it's the guy who has a little bit of jiu-jitsu. And he's 155, 160 pounds. Then I have another gentleman, early 20s, like strong mechanic, like a good 240, 250 maybe, and no jiu-jitsu at all, and has been with me for 2.5 months. I asked last night just to confirm, like, he's been with me for 2.5 months. So we try to play, in 3 different areas each night, something wrestling based. And that could consist of stand-up games. Now, with the stand-up games, there has been no takedowns at all. If they're standing up, it is all, can you get the leg or can you keep the leg? Can you get to your partner's back, using arm drags, things like that? Can you put your partner's hands on the floor? Like different things like that. And then we have offensive and defensive goals. And then, or we do mat wrestling, which is that's what I've always called it. It's when when we wrestle pretty much from our knees, but I don't just like, all right, square up in front of me on your knees and we're going to jockey for position. Like so last night it was, we had a guy turtle up. We had the other guy come to the side and hook in on a single leg. And the worst one with the single leg, it was like, I want your, when you hook up on that single leg, I want your elbow inside their legs on the floor, because that gives us a really good lockup on the leg. Your job is to either put your partner down on a hip or make it to their back and cover their hips, like you were trying to move to back control, like maybe like a waist grip, tight waist grip. And your defensive partner, their job was to try to square back up, because we're very, 90-degree-ish lineup. And can you square back up? Can you get your chest on their back, which would be that position to try to sprawl? Can you free your leg? And can you make it to your partner's back and cover their hips? Okay. So we played that game, and obviously, like between these two guys, I got like 100-pound difference, right? And I would say most of the exchanges, the larger guy, the heavier dude, like, he was doing better, but he definitely got taken down. He, like, the smaller dude definitely was able to like drop his hip to the mat. They both made it to each other's backs a couple of different times, and but this was something that I thought was amazing. So we played a guard game after that, and it was we were revisiting a lot of stuff that we'd already done this week. I just wanted to give these guys a time to revisit. I wanted to see how the information relayed, on something that maybe we haven't worked specifically in 2-3 weeks, things like that. So we did X guard. So bottom player enters X guard, and his job is to put a partner down on his hip in any kind of guard. We just started in X guard, but that's the starting position, but it's to use his guard to destabilize his partner and put him down. Can you put your partner down on a hip? Can you access the back? Can you put your partner's hands and keep them there? With the defensive person's job being to remove all hooks, posts, and grips. So removing the feet and the hands and trying to get chest to chest. Okay. I saw this was what I thought was cool. So the 155er, he started X guard, and the top guy started to remove the hooks, and he kind of turned around to step away, and the smaller dude came right up, hit a double, dumped him right to his hip, right? And then the next round he hit another. Like, the guy got away, he set right up into it, attacked the legs, dumped him. We've never talked about wrestle ups ever. We've never drilled them. We don't, it hasn't been a conversation at all. But it was really cool watching him take the mat wrestling that we've been doing and incorporate it straight into his guard play to get on top. It was super unexpected. And I think that's what I'm liking. We're taking these games and they're putting them together on their own. Whether it's in the live training, like the rounds, like the just the rolling, or if it's, if it's a guard game and the job is to put your partner down and get on top of them, like he just mixed it in on his own. And I went back and watched some video from earlier in the week where we played a guard game with a similar rule set. We just started in single leg X instead. He did the same thing. I was like, okay, this is a thing that's starting to happen to him. And he sees that connection and he's putting it together. And so here's what I like. One, you're training for a solid hour and you're actually like working on developing your skills, like skill acquisition. Is I think that's the term that gets used a lot, but we're working on very specific skills here. And I'm taking guys who have never wrestled and they're making use of it on each other. They've already made it really difficult for me to sweep them in open guard positions. If I don't get upper body control, I'm struggling to sweep them. They don't let me make really good connections. They fight those really hard. So it's really cool with the idea of giving less information and trying to develop the game and talk about what we're actually doing and see them play that in together. I saw last night, I saw an attack on an armbar that I thought from a closed guard that I was like, oh, this angle is going to be a really sloppy closed guard armbar. No, he just went belly down. And then I was like, okay, so he's going to stay there. No, he rolled all the way over. He went belly down, rolled the dude over. And I thought he was going to get it. I was like, this is insane. This dude's been training for like 2 months. And it looked good. Like it looked good. Like I watched the video again after because I was like, did I just see what I saw? But the guy getting armbarred ran his hitchhiker, that failed, and he ran back the other way. Like got out anyway because we played games on escaping the armbar where I put the emphasis on, hey guys, you can't win the game by just staying there with your hands connected and refusing to let them separate your hands and working on your grip strength. I was like, I would rather see you get submitted than just stay there and do nothing. You're going to have to figure out how to get out of here. So, when we play these games, we put some serious work on like what the actual task is. And it's like for an armbar game, it's like, dude, you're looking to separate those hands and finish the arm. But more importantly, you still have to control that person. For the person in the defensive position, it's like, dude, escape. Make that the game. You are not going to win by just staying there. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to get out by just staying there. So like put some real work in and try to escape. This is the gym. You know what I'm saying? You don't want your arm cranked on? Tap verbally, do it quickly. You know what I mean? So that was really cool to see. But going back to real quick, just the idea of like revisiting games this last week that we haven't played in a while. So one of the guys, we hadn't touched X guard purposely, like to train since his very first week. And it already looked better. And he was hitting sweeps and he was putting his partner's hands on the floor, and we talked afterwards, like guys, like you're using your X guard pretty decently. You're using your single leg X pretty decently. Let's start putting those together a little better. Your sweeps are going to get better. Your wrestle ups are going to get better, and then, once you get really good at keeping your partner's hands on the floor, your leg entries are going to get better and you're going to be able to attack legs a little better because my white belts have already started playing with attacking legs using games. It's been fantastic. So let's talk about like what I don't like about the traditional method of training, and I'll try to compare as we go along to the way I do now. So, little backstory, like I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 15 years. I just probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, stopped wearing the gi. So I came up in that class, line drills to warm up, practice 3 techniques, roll. Okay. And this is my experience and why I don't like that, because even before I took the gi off, before I went more like games for training, I had already been like, I'm not doing 3 techniques a night. We'll do 2. I want to give these guys more time to actually drill the technique. Because my experience with drilling the technique was my coach would talk a lot, try to drop a bunch of information. We would go do it. If my partner got to be the person that drilled first and he wasn't getting it, he would do it like 5, 6, 7 times. And then when it was my turn, and I wanted that to happen. Like I wanted to get good 3, like get solid reps before we moved on, but then it'd be my turn and I'd get like halfway through, or I'd get like one rep in and the coach would be like, all right, guys, circle up. Okay. So like that's not drilling, guys. Like, that's not drilling at all. That was slowly stumbling through the move. And then we're moving on. And we would do this 3 times, right? Or like I said, even if I got to go first and I knocked out 3 reps and my partner, was able to knock out 3 and then I knocked out 1. All right, guys, circle up, next technique. Like, guys, this is not learning. This is not learning at all. Okay. And this was every gym I trained at. This wasn't just like one bad coach. Like, this was every gym that I trained at. So, and then you always get the drilling partner who, I remember like being a white belt and practicing like the scissor sweep, and the guy I was drilling with was like bodying me every time we're drilling the scissor sweep. And I'd be like, dude, you don't have to be so aggressive. He's like, dude, I'm trying to keep it realistic. Well, the problem is, bro, is I'm not being realistic. I'm not offering you any resistance. I'm being a good partner. I'm here like 50%. I'm supporting my own weight for the most part. I'm letting you work through it, but I'm not offering any resistance. That's not realistic. You're using 100% effort against 50% resistance, if we want to put numbers on it. That's not real. Realistic is me sitting there and refusing to let you hit that sweep until you figure out how to do it against full resistance. That's realistic, but that's dumb for that type of training situation. And at the same time, like, I don't want to stand there and I don't want to get judo thrown 20 times. It's not good for your body. Like, it leaves you jacked up. Like, that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to class every night. I'm being shown 3 things. I'm not learning anything. And then when it's time to roll, right? This is the one I think about the most. When they taught arm bars back in the day, it was that self-defense version where your partner, you get mount and your partner sticks his hand straight up on your chest, and you put your hands on their chest and you work your way around the arm to your arm bar. When it was time to roll, not one person I rolled with stuck their arms up. Not one. Nobody did that, because we all learned, like, oh, if you stick your arms up, you get arm barred. That doesn't make sense. How am I supposed to practice arm bars against somebody who won't stick their arms up? Because that's what I was told that had to happen. When they stick their arms up, then I get to arm bar them, or we practice rear naked chokes, and then I couldn't make it to somebody's back. Not only could I not make it to the back, like, if I did make it to the back, I couldn't stay there. How am I supposed to practice rear naked chokes? How's it supposed to happen? Oh, you just keep doing it, you'll get better at it. Like, it's the most ridiculous statement. But here, now I play games and everybody just goes, oh, you're just positional sparring. You're just positional sparring. Well, let's talk about positional sparring from the back. Why would you do it? Well, 1, if I'm on your back, I'm there to maintain a chest to back connection. I have to stay there, right? That's goal number 1, is to get to your back and actually stay there, with your job being to escape my hooks and turn chest to chest, or turn chest to chest and end up in my guard and survive, right? Wouldn't it make more sense if we were both doing that at the same time? Wouldn't we be developing skills at the same time? So you can call that positional sparring if you want. And maybe in that scenario, it is, right? Or maybe, we lock in the choke and you got to escape it. And maybe I don't squeeze. Maybe I just try to keep the choke locked in while you try to escape as we add the squeeze. Or maybe I get one arm around your neck and I give you access to my other arm. So now I've got to either one arm choke you, or I've got to free my own arm while you're trying to escape. You know what I'm saying? We can make the game as big or as small as we want to, but the ecological approach to that would be, I'm going to show you what the rear naked choke looks like. Probably going to give you one arm around the chin. And then you're going to have to figure out how to free your hand, stay there, and lock it up. Because I told you have to maintain a chest to back connection. You need to keep your hooks in. When you're talking about ecological, I think, like, dynamics and constraint-based learning for jiu-jitsu, I think, to me, the easiest place to understand it is in guard passing. So this is how I teach it. I say the guard is a combination of hooks, posts, and grips. So if you're the guy on bottom and you want to use your open guard, you need to organize your hands and your feet on your partner in a way to maintain connection, control the distance, and try to knock them down, destabilize them. Using your hands and feet, can you knock them down? Using your hands and feet, can you knock them down? Keep your hands and feet in front of your partner, between you and your partner. It's your guard. It's there to protect you. Your guard isn't helpful out here. This is guarded. Okay? As the person passing, now you know that that person wants to put their hands and feet on you. So listen, do not let them put their hands and feet on you. Remove all hooks, posts, and grips. Now, that's all I'm telling you. Because instead of drilling knee slice passes, Toriano passes, De La Hiva passes, X-guard passes, blah, 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 and feeling like you have to have a pass for every guard in existence, because you don't. When you break it down into don't let them put their hands and feet on you, advance past their feet. That works for all guards, all of them. And here's how you drill that. Here's how you train it, right? It's all live drilling. If I'm the guy on bottom, I'm looking to make and maintain connections with my feet and my hands, hooks, posts, and grips, and I'm going to knock you down. As the person passing, you don't want my hands and feet on you. You want to advance past my feet. So what I do with them first, instead of telling them, get past the legs and get chest to chest, I tell them, can you advance past the feet? We work on a knee-to-knee connection. So my knee, if I'm passing you, it's like, can I make my knee touch your knee while I'm past your feet? And can I hold it as long as possible? Or can I just advance past your feet and hold that position as long as possible while you try to reconnect? That's it. That's the ecological approach. It's me giving you what the constraints are. It's me giving you what the task is, what the goal is, and letting you figure it out on your own. So let's back up. I played wrestling games with my guys. I played guard games with my guys. And they decided to put them together on their own. No discussion of wrestling up. And wrestling up is huge in jiu-jitsu now. But we didn't have that conversation. So how am I wrong? I think the biggest problem is that people don't like the idea of not having all the answers. As a coach, we feel like we have to have the answers. And for years, I felt that way. I was like, I have to have the answers. And that's where the imposter syndrome comes in and feeling like you're failing, But now I just lead the practice. And they're my training partners. That's it. We're all there just training, trying to get better. I find the things that we suck at, I suck at, they suck at. And I'm like, all right, how do I break this down to give a good understanding of what we're actually doing? So that being said, when I started doing this, I talked to my coach. I listened to, obviously, there's Greg Souders, who's the kind of authority on jiu-jitsu, ecological dynamics in jiu-jitsu. And he's read a lot of the literature on ecological dynamics. And he's really intelligent about it. He's very strict about it, and then you have good resources, right? Like there's some ecological Instagram pages. Ecological Network, I think, is one of them. I think it's what it's called. Really hate that I just may have botched that up because I look at it all the time. But it's like they post a bunch of videos like from different people that are doing it, which is cool just to get different ideas and hear people talk about it is super helpful, But I asked my coach if he was doing it, and he made the statement. He's like, at a high level, you have to teach technique. And I trust him. That's why I'm part of that team. And so like I held on to that piece of information while I kept studying what I was studying. And I came across a statement from Kid Dale, who uses ecological without really knowing, I think at the time, that it was like, that's what it was called. Like he was very much like he had concepts. And I remember, hearing about this brown or black belt from Australia who had, he got his black belt in like 4 years and he was winning and he didn't drill. It was all concepts. And as a blue belt, I was like, that's not real, which is ridiculous. That's that blue belt mentality that we always know better, which is just blue belts. You're wrong 90% of the time. I'm sorry, guys. You're wrong. Like, you've been doing jiu-jitsu for like 2 to 4 years, bro. Just start listening more. Be more open-minded to what's out there, because the longer you do jiu-jitsu, the more you realize there's 1,000 ways to do everything. And that your coach, I'm sorry, guys, but your coach doesn't know everything. been through several coaches. It took me some time to learn that. But Kid Dale made a really great statement, and he said, if I have to show you the technique more than twice, you're not ready for it because you don't understand the position. And when I took that information and put it with what my coach said about at a high level, you have to teach technique, I get it. Because at the level that he coaches at, the guys that he coaches, the high level competitors, he can show them the technique. He can add the detail, right? We always love the little details on like which way I should hold my hand for this or where I should be squeezing. But if you're already comfortable with the positioning, it's easy to add that into your game. You don't really have to drill it. You could do it live. You don't have to drill it. You know, you get good at top pressure in live training. The reason you're good at staying on mount is not because you drilled mount position techniques over and over. You got good at staying on mount in your rolls. You got good at staying in mount at open mat. You got good at passing guard at open mat. You got good at staying on the back at open mat with people actually defending, actually trying to get away from you, actually trying to stop you. That was where you develop those skills. You know what I mean? Like that's why your brown belts are better and your black belts are better than you, because they have more time more time under pressure, more live training. You know, they tell us, right? Like you compete how you train. You don't compete against guys that are laying there not moving. You compete against guys that are fighting you back. So if you're telling me that training directly correlates to how we compete, wouldn't you want to spend more time training in a live setting? As of right now, I'm a little over 6 months in to training this way. I have no reason to go back. You know, I'm not going to stop my guys if they want to like walk through the move and like that drilling, like that static. I'm not going to stop them, but we're not going to do it on my time, you know, because I'm 15 years in and I'm seeing so many positives in training this way that I think guys are going to get better faster. I've gotten better since I've started doing it, which is exciting. I am enjoying teaching more than I ever have in like 10 years of teaching jiu-jitsu. And I'm understanding jiu-jitsu in a way that I never have before. So that's just my take on training this way. And maybe I'm totally botching the ecological approach to jiu-jitsu. I am using constraints. I am playing games. I'm watching skills become acquired at a super fast rate, guys. And whether you like to drill against somebody or play games or do both, I think you should be having fun. I think jiu-jitsu should still be fun. You know, if you're not having fun doing it, then you're doing it wrong. So that's just my take on it. I'm Eric. This is Jiu-Jitsu Collective. We don't oss. And we also don't drill.